What's up, guys? So in today's video, I want to go over how the pros source, and that's it. And in the thumbnail, you see "Don't use Keepa." That is true because someone Tanner the Junk Flipper got on the Bookmine YouTube channel recently, and he said something that really stuck out to me. That was like yes, the tools like Keepa and Bookmine are amazing tools and everything, but they don't, if you use those every day, just that to source. Hold on, I forgot to turn off the TV. Sorry. If you use that every day to source, you're just grinding and grinding and grinding. And that's eventually going to be just like, man, I have to source for like 2 hours a day, every single day. It's just not, it's not scalable, and it's just not, good. Because it takes about 2 hours. You can take less time, but about 2 hours to get at least 10 books, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the day, if you're just using those tools. Now, what he was saying and referring to was, use those tools, especially at the beginning whenever you don't have historical data, but go off your historical data more than anything. Pros, the way they do it, they get 10 books easily with, not much time at all, because they're they're thinking about, all right, what's happening 6 months from now? I'm going to look at what's happening 6 months from now. That way I can see exactly, what do I need to source right now? So like, for example, I mean, it's less than 6 months, but right now it's August. What I'm looking at is Christmas books, right? I've had a few videos about how to find them using Keepa and stuff. If you don't have like a list to go off of and everything, that's the way you want to do it. And that you want to find those books, and you want to get a good list going. And then whenever if you haven't gone through a season yet, you want to make note of which books performed well during that time. That way, come next year during August, July, August, you'll be able to look back at that time, and you'll be able to be like, all right, this Christmas book did really, really well. I'm gonna try to buy that book, and I sold 5 of them, sold out all of them before even the peak came. So now I'm gonna buy 10 of them or 15 of them, however well it sells. You know, that is how you're gonna make the most money the quickest, by just keeping track of what's been selling. And yes, this takes time. It is not a boom, you're going to be making money type of thing. Unfortunately, if you're going to be selling used books, it's going to be a process at the beginning in order to get to the point where you're actually making money. And that's just how it is. That's the name of the game. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This isn't. We're not selling you quick money, easy money, or sit on the couch and watch the passive income come. It's not that whatsoever. But if you're wanting to, put in the work, put in the time, then you'll be able to make this work. But you have to be able to think not about how much money can I make right now in this month. I need to make this much money this month. It's just not going to happen. What you need to start thinking about is, okay, in 6 months, if I spend this much money on Christmas books, I could make this much money if each one of those sells at, this ROI. And then you start really, really, really thinking about, like, okay, say you spent $10,000 in, in 3 months on just Christmas books. Well, now if you can sell each of those Christmas books you can sell most of them for 100% ROI or more, but you're making like, $5, per book, but it's 100% ROI. And if you spend $10,000, I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be another $10,000 on top of that, but it's not going to happen that way. Most likely, you're most likely going to get some that sell for more than 100%, some that sell less than 100%, you know. So you have to start really just putting your mindset and into the, you know, 6 months from now. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, pros never use Keepa, because they do. They do use it, and I use it. And what I'm trying to say is I I'm right now I'm sourcing Christmas books, because 6 months from now it's Christmas time. So right now they're super cheap. But come say January. January is like one of the biggest time where it's like you really, I mean, you really can't source high school books very well because they're still kind of high priced. Can't really source college books because they're really high priced in January. You can't really source Christmas books because they're, you know, coming down from their high. So you have to think about, okay, now is the time to kind of buy those all year round books. Now is the time to grind and source with Keepa. That way, you know, you're buying those books that aren't really seasonal based, because you're at that point of time where it's kind of awkward. You know, I guess that December, January time. It's that awkward time where there's no real season you can buy for, because you're coming up on the down season, which is February, March, and April. Those seasons are kind of our down season. So I mean, you might be able to source some springtime books, but it's really not like a Christmas situation or a textbook situation where you see these high spikes and tons of books. It's not like that, unfortunately. You're coming up on a season where it's, you know, it's kind of hard for us booksellers. But you can, that's whenever the time to use Keepa and Bookmine, link in descriptions. But that's the time to use those is whenever you're coming up on those seasons where it's going to be kind of low. That's whenever you grind out the Keepa and stuff. But just grinding all year round Keepa, you know, just finding 10 books a day on Keepa, you know, it's not feasible. What you want to do is, you know, when times come, grind on Keepa. If you're just beginning and you have no historical data to look back on, then yes, Keepa is the way to do it. But if you have gone through a textbook season, if you have gone through a Christmas season, look back at those times. See what sold. If you sold 10 books of a Christmas book and you made, you know, I don't know, $50 on those 10 books, see how the used offer count performing. Is the used offer count rising? If it's rising, then maybe you only buy 10 or less, you know, depending on how high the offer count's rising comparative to the year before. If it's like way low, if they had like 20 sellers on it, you made $50 on it by buying 10 books, and now it has 10 sellers on it a year later at the same time, then you can start thinking like, oh, maybe I can buy like twice as many, if not more, and really double my income in with that one book. You know, that's what you kind of have to look at, is making sure that you're looking at the past historical data, how it performed previously, and how it's going to perform most likely. It's definitely, you can't predict the future. You don't know for sure that it's going to perform how you think it's going to perform, but you can have a great educated guess. And there's not many, you know, things out there that you can do that with. You know, Amazon really gives us a great tool in Keepa, the Keepa graphs. It gives us a great tool to look at the past historical data. If you're an eBay seller or have been in the past, then you know the value of this, because eBay doesn't give you that. eBay doesn't have a tool out there that shows you the past historical data. Only thing you can look at is, you know, the last 3 months pretty much of, you know, what it sold, how much it sold. You can kind of see those numbers, but it only goes back 3 months. Amazon gives you years and years and years of this data, all the data that it's, since the product or the book has been on Amazon. It'll show you everything, and that's a valuable tool to have. That's why everyone tells you like, hey, yes, you know, you can run an Amazon business, but you really need to have Keepa in order to run this business, because it's just such a valuable tool that gives you data that, you know, people in other industries would love to have, especially starting out, you know. But that's the thing though. It's like if you're starting out, you can look back on past historical data. You know, in other industries, it's like people who have been in the industry for a long time can then, you know, look back on their data previously to do the same thing. But whenever you're just starting out in other industries, you don't have that past historical data unless someone you know has already been in it and can kind of give that to you. But that's the biggest thing is, yes, Keepa is an amazing sourcing tool, but you know, you have to eventually start looking at what has sold in the past to, you know, make sure that you're doing the right things in order to get yourself prepared for whenever the seasonal times comes. Because I've said it before and said it 100 times, but this game is a seasonal game. If you're not taking advantage of the seasonal game, you know, you definitely can, but I think it's a lot longer trek. It's a lot. Joji Davenport has done it in the past. I think that he's kind of moving towards a seasonal model, but where he buys these really low selling books that, you know, buy it for really cheap but can sell it for a huge ROI, but only sells like once or twice a year. He's buying those and sitting on them for a long time. But when they do sell, you know, he gets a huge ROI return. But the thing is if you're going to do that type of model, he put it as this, is you're pushing the boulder up a hill. And if you're doing the seasonal, you kind of get to that seasonal point and woof, you're good. And then you get like a few seasonal humps and you'll feel the payoff. But whenever you're doing that type of model, you're pushing up this big, huge hill for a long time until you finally get to the top where you're finally getting that payoff. So you just kind of have to, I hope that makes sense, but you just kind of have to be prepared that, you know, this model of selling on Amazon is not a quick model. It's a you know, you got to look at 6 months and a year, and then look back on your historical data for how those performed in that year, and then that is going to tell you what your purchasing should be moving forward. But it does take some time. And, you know, if anybody tells you that this is a scam, know that a scam is determined by someone saying, hey, this is quick money, easy money, and once you get it going, you'll just sit back and it's what do you call it, passive income. It's like if anybody promises you those three things in one bundle, that's a scam. This is not none of those. This takes a while. It's not easy. It's really hard, and you know, it's passive. You know, you make money while you sleep, sure, but it's not passive. You're working on this every day. But yeah, that's about it. If you want help with this stuff, you can book a call with me, do a free 30-minute call. It's my bookkeeping website, but I will help you guys with this type of business. I can help you on the back end. I can help you with QuickBooks, or if you want help sourcing, just book a free 30-minute call and we can kind of see if I can help you or not, and then we can go from there. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on